I now hand the conference over to Mr. Vishal Punmiya from Nirmal Bang Equities. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Aisha. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Nirmal Bang Institutional Equities, I would like to welcome you all to 4Q FY21 earnings call of Associated Alcohol and Breweries Limited. From the management, we have with us Mr. Tushar Bhandari, Whole-time Director on the call today. Without further ado, I would like to hand over the call to Mr. Bhandari for his opening remarks, and post that we can open the floor for the Q&A session. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Good afternoon, everybody. It is a pleasure to welcome all of you to the earnings conference call for the fourth quarter and the financial year ended 2021. Hope you and your loved ones are keeping safe and doing well during this difficult time. To begin with, let me first give you a brief overview about the company. Associated Alcohol and Breweries Limited is one of the largest single-location distilleries in India with a state-of-art integrated multi-grain-based manufacturing facility, strategically located in central India near Indore, Madhya Pradesh. The company has an existing capacity of 45 million liters per annum and further plans to double the capacity to 75 million liters per annum. It is engaged in the entire value chain for manufacturing and selling of extra-neutral alcohol, contract manufacturing, as well as direct-to-the-consumer sale of the proprietary IMIL and IMFL brands, and also licensed IMFL brands. The company is growing and leading player in alcohol segment with almost over 3 decades of presence. Now let me take you through the fourth quarter financial performance of our company. The operating income for the quarter was around 128 crores, which was a decrease of approximately 5% on a year-on-year basis. Operating EBITDA reported around 24 crores, which was an increase of about 46% on a year-on-year basis. Operating EBITDA margin stood at 18%, which improved by 656 basis points on a year-on-year basis. Net profit after tax reported at around 15 crores, which grew at around 41% on a year-on-year basis, and PAT margin were around 11.7%. Despite the sluggish demand environment, the company was able to broadly match the sales on year-on-year basis in Q4 21. There has been a significant improvement to the bottom line due to the cost control measures and better price realization. I will now take you through the quarterly segmental performance. In the manufacturing segment, revenue for the quarter were around 44 crores, which was a decrease of around 10% on a year-on-year basis. Our merchant ENA sales volume in the quarter was around 55 lakh liters, and the revenue from ENA was around 28.4 crores. In the consumer segment, revenue for the quarter was 84 crores, which was a decrease of around 2.7% on a year-on-year basis. Our sale volume of IMIL, IMFL proprietary and IMFL licensed brands was around 8 lakh cases, 2.67 lakh cases and 2.68 lakh cases respectively. Talking about the 12-month performance for the year 2021, the operating income was 453 crores, which was a decrease of approximately 15% on a year-on-year basis. Operating EBITDA reported at all-time high of round about 89 crores, which was an increase of 17% on a year-on-year basis. Operating EBITDA margin stood at 19.75%, which was improved by 543 basis points year-on-year basis. Net profit after tax reported at around 58 crores, which was all-time high in the history of the company, and which grew at around 17.6% on a year-on-year basis. PAT margin was around 12.8%. Despite a weak Q1 due to the complete lockdown, the company was able to have its most profitable performance in the year 21, driven by cost control measures supporting price realization during the year. Focus on driving cost control measures as well as managing working capital efficiently remain of our utmost priority in the coming financial year. while also driving the sales growth. Talking about the segment performance for the financial year 2021, in the manufacturing segment, revenue for the period were around 160 crores, which declined around 18%. Our merchant ENA sales volume for the period was 189 lakh liters, which was a decline of around 17%. And the revenue from the ENA was around 100 crores, which was a decline of around 18% on a year-on-year basis. In the consumer segment, revenue for the period was around 300 crores, which declined around 13%. Our sales volume of IMIL, IMFL proprietary and IMFL licensed brand were around 30 lakh cases, 8 lakh cases and around 9 lakh cases respectively. Finally, to update the capex plan of expanding the manufacturing capacity from 45 million lakh liters to 75 million liters per annum, the company has finalized procurement of critical equipment with Praj Industries Limited, while other vendor agreements are also under finalization stage, and civil work has already begun at the site. The board has also recommended a dividend of 10% for the approval. With that, we can open the call for the question and answers.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and one on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and two. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Nikhil Chaudhary from this portfolio. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir. Congratulations on a great financial year. Sir, I had just one question. Seeing your EBITDA margins, you are actually the best amongst the peers. Like if you see, no one is commanding an EBITDA margin of 19%, 20%, close to 20%. Just wanted to understand how sustainable will be this EBITDA margin.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chaudhary. See, the EBITDA margin of 19% is sustainable for a company like us. Okay, there might be a slight decline we can see in the EBITDA margin, but see, we are being the sole manufacturers. See, other players who are there in the industry, they are either taking the ENA from the third party and manufacturing from us. But we being an end-to-end manufacturer, say from ENA manufacturing to around to sale of our own products. So in that, what we do is that we have, if you see the performance of the company also over the years, we are the most efficient company in the industry. So we try aggressively to control our costs, and plus apart from that, see, being a unit which is at a single location also give us an economies of scale. And in the coming years, when our capacity expands or to 75 million lakh liters per annum, with the same amount of overheads or staff, we will be able to produce double the capacity. So that will also give me a contribution to my EBITDA, because I will have economies of scale. So with the combination of all these, we are able to maintain this EBITDA margin.
Okay, and sir, probably when you move move into newer geographies, like probably now since you're dominated into one single location and you are located in the central India. So wanted to understand, I just wanted to understand more about this industry, wherein if you try to expand into newer geographies, then probably the logistic advantage that you are having will try to fade out. Is my understanding correct?
No, see, basically it would not fade out to a greater extent, because again in that, whenever in new geography I enter into, so there are certain things which we look into. First is we do not look into straight away doing the capex expenditure or buying a unit there. What we do is we take up a local unit and we give them manufacturing for our products. And second is where the working capital is required, the major portion of the ENA is transported from our location. So I am transporting my own ENA, okay, from here to that particular location. So that again gives me a benefit to a greater extent as a vis-a-vis my competitors.
Got it, understood. And sir, last thing, a capex timeline any CapEx timeline, like probably you're planning to doubling the capacity. So by when can we expect the capacity to be on stream?
Almost around a year to say around 14 months.
Got it. That's it from my side. Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Abhishek Maheshwari from Skyridge Wealth Management. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. So, I just have two questions. First is, can you talk a little about where we are with raw material prices and availability? Are they on an uptrend or downtrend, and do we have enough inventory?
Abhishek, your voice is not clear. I'm not able to hear the question.
Oh, I was asking what's the raw material prices and availability like right now at this moment?
What availability?
Raw material.
Anji?
Raw material.
Raw material availability?
Yes.
Raw material availability has never been an issue for us because as we said that we are a multiple grain feed plant. Okay, so there are 4-5 grains out of which we can take any grain. And for us, the locational advantage is one of the biggest advantages to us because we are surrounded by one of the few of the major raw material producing states, be it UP, be it Chhattisgarh, be it Maharashtra, and even in Madhya Pradesh itself, a huge amount of corn belt is there. So raw material availability is not an issue. There might be a slight concern of raw material prices. That is a thing so which helps us, a company like us, because it helps us to switch from grains to grain.
Okay, fair enough, sir.
Depending on the price and the realization of liquor from that particular grain, we take a strategic call at that point of time which grain to use.
Okay, sir. Yeah. And so my second question is regarding the Q1 impact. What kind of impact are we seeing with lockdown type restrictions everywhere?
The impact which we've seen similar on the lines of last year, as it's there across the country in most of the sectors. So the entire first quarter is almost non-functional only because our major sales are coming from 4-5 states, which is under lockdown, and even ENA sale which we are doing to South and all. So South is also under major lockdown. So first quarter, so completely as the entire industry is suffering, we are also with them. But we might see and we are seeing and hope in the coming months that the demand would completely surge because we have seen an aggressive vaccination drive across the country in most of the states. Okay, though there was a vaccination shortage earlier, but now I think that has been mitigated, and most of the states are getting sufficient amount of vaccines. And within next 3 to 4 months, I think major of the population, especially the younger generation which is there and major consumer which is there, vaccinated and increase in the demand.
Okay, sir. Thank you. That's it from me. All the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Keshav from Raksan Investors. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thanks a lot for taking my call, and congratulations for a very good performance in a very, very difficult year. So my first question is, I wanted to know the nature of a relationship with MEBL. It used to be a related party back in 2010, and it jumped out of the list in 2011. Firstly, sir, I want to know what was the reason.
Keshavji, probably it is promoted by the same group of promoters, and there is a brewing unit in Madhya Pradesh only, and being the slightly different line of business, this is complementary and supplementary to our activities, and that's why we are having some business synergy, but certainly both are independent companies are promoted by the same promoter group, and that company is having the sizable market of the beer in central India, and it is doing well. So this is the basic background of MEBL is concerned.
Okay. Sir, because we have had quite a lot of exposure in terms of loans and corporate guarantees till recent years. in terms of loans, it consistently increased to about 16 crore as per 2020 annual report. So, sir, what's the current status, the rate of interest we're charging them, and the reason to put this much money as support to the company in the first place, sir?
Basically, initially when the company was promoted in 2008, so certainly it was promoted and the associated strength was there. Associated has supported also in there, and that is the more
sir,
of the.
Sir, I'm sorry, you're not audible, sir.
But now that loan and exposure, including the guarantees which the ABL has given in 2008-9, now the guarantees are withdrawn by ABL. That is not required. And again, the loan exposure what the ABL is doing, that is reduced substantially. And so, at presently, we are charging about 12% or so, and we are expecting to even the working to realize the soon also.
Okay, all right, sir. Sir, second question would be if you could shed some light on the remuneration figure for the Mr. Anand and Prasann Khedia for FY21.
Remuneration figure?
Yes, sir.
I think it's about 3 crore, and details I think specifically you can forward the company secretary can share you. It is almost on the last year line. You can just share it through IR Anuj through, and then he will able to share you. And it is almost in the same line. And in the line of the last year, even they have considered the incentives and commissions for this year also.
So when you say 3 crore, is 3 crore each or 3 crore total? Hello?
3 crore each. 3 crore each.
Okay, sir. So I've seen the remuneration as a percentage of profits has been consistently very high for many years, but we have seen no buybacks, and the dividend payment has also not been proportionate to the increments in profits. So, sir, what has been the reason, and do we expect any buybacks going forward?
As far as buyback is concerned, that we don't have. That is not required, and we don't have any planning immediately. Number one. As far as the dividend is concerned, as you will appreciate, the major CapEx program is being continued from over the years. It is done from internal accruals only. That's why we are able to operate successfully even in this difficult scenario. Every industry is having ups and downs. And even in the current year, the entire CapEx of 100 plus crore, around 120 crore, it is mainly planned from internal accruals only. Certainly, we are having a conservative dividend policy to enable us to make us. We are totally now the long-term debt. We don't have any debt today. We are able to make the zero debt company as far as the long-term debts are concerned. And in this policy we are working. So that's why the dividends are, as a policy, became just conservative, as you rightly pointed out.
Basically, right now the fund is required majorly for the expansion of the company. So we are concentrating on that, and whatever the fresh expansion would be there, we would try and get the entire funding of the expansion from the internal accruals only. That's why the dividend policy has been conservative, and as Subhiji said that this year we are complete zero debt company. Whatever the minimum debt was also there, that has also been paid off this year.
Okay, all right, sir.
That helps us sustain in the market like these, but because otherwise if you have huge debt on the book, so that has our policy been for last 30 decades to always be debt-light, because that helps the company to go through all the cycles, ups and downs of the industry. Because every industry goes through ups and downs of its own. So it helps the companies like us who are on low debt to sustain the cycle.
Understood, sir. Sir, if I could add one more question. Sir, if I see the ENA capacity as per your FY11 annual report, it is stated as 4.2 crore liters per annum. But later it became 3.14 crore liter per annum. We took an expansion around 2018 from 3.14 to 4.5. So, sir, did we have a surplus capacity back then, before 2010? So why is this anomaly there, if at all?
Basically, that 4.2 what we are talking, actually that was the initial capacity consisting of the multiple plants, created small plants multiple point of time. And in 2011-12, that was the dual process plants of various 4-5 distillation plants were operating at that time. That was showing the theoretically slightly higher capacity, but operational capacity was not there in matching in that way. And we have revamped the entire plant between 11 to 13 and made the complete shifted on grain-based distillation. So I think the capacity shown from 2013 onwards, post that expansion may be the relevant to examine.
Okay, got it, sir. Got it, sir. And adding one more part to this, we had earlier projected to go to 9 crore liters per annum from 4.5 currently, but now we have revised that estimate to 7.5. And after Q3, our estimate to go to 9 crore was roughly 120 crore of capital outlay. But right now we are doing 1.5 crore lesser than that, and we are incurring roughly the same cost. So, sir, what's the reason for this decrease scale of expansion per se, and why are we incurring a similar cost for the same?
Yes, sir. So basically, the plan was for going from 45 to 90. That is okay. And the technical problem was that from 45 plant, I am in a position to get the production of 50 plus today. Okay. And looking to this result purposely, if I will create the similar plant, it may breach my license capacity of 90 million. That's why technically the additional expansion of this much of 30 million only is taken. From 45 to we have taken only 30 million, but practically we hope to be able to produce the more. And as per the capacity, this is the taken to avoid the breach of the actual production, which can breach the license capacity. That's why. Otherwise, we are having vision of operating of anything between 85 to 90 only. That is with this capacity expansion. That is one part. As far as your cost is concerned, we have made certain changes in the project cost by expanded the captive power generation from 6 megawatt to 8 megawatt. We have added basically just make the plant alternate to make the ethanol also power alcohol. For the time being, may not be our vision to go on the ethanol, but maybe time being utilization of optimum capacity, the opportunity which we are having in central India, since there are no molasses-based ethanol supplier as such existing. And apart from that, we are going with the certain expansion in the other areas, bottling and other things. That's why getting the CapEx program almost 120 or so, but certainly certain additions and certain removal, it is not going to be there.
Thank you. We would request the current participant to please come back in the question queue for any follow-up questions, as we have several participants waiting for their turn. Also, we would request the participants to please limit your questions to 2 per participant. The next question is from the line of Yash Agarwal from JM Financial. Please go.
In cost, could you quantify that amount? What is the increase in recent times?
Pardon?
You spoke about that raw material costs are a challenge. So I just wanted to understand how much have grain costs increased in the recent months?
There can be an increase. The grain price has increased to around the tune of around 10 to 15%. But as I said that we are trying to mitigate that grain price increase to the maximum level as we can do, because the price of the other grain, which is say for example rice, which gives us a higher yield of alcohol, is similar to the price of corn. So we have shifted ourselves in buying of rice, and plus apart from that we've gone a step ahead and we are purchasing it directly through mandis and eliminating the brokers, so that we get a value price from there. So we are doing couple of things to mitigate that price rise also, but there can be the price is already increased in the range of around 10 to 12%.
And what is the outlook on ENA prices, in light of rising grain price situation for the next financial year? I mean, I think you realize.
The outlook of ENA prices, basically ENA price is always linked to the grain price. So if the grain prices goes up, the price of ENA will also go up to a tune of equivalent increase in the grain price. So there might be a slight change up and down here and there, but it's almost in the lines to that only. Because we have got contracts with, say, for example, USL and other major contracts which are there. So we've got agreement that whatever the increase in the grain price would be there, would be passed on in the price of ENA.
Lastly, what is the difference between IMIL and ENA prices for you, sir?
IMIL and ENA price. IMIL is totally different. IMIL is basically a lower end of IMFL product, which is country liquor.
Yeah, but what is the realization in IMIL? That's what I wanted to know.
What is the realization per case in IMIL?
Per liter, if you could give it, just for comparison.
About 100. We are running about 400.
Sorry?
Per case you are asking about?
Yeah, per case, yeah.
Per case realization, per liter realization is around 120 rupees.
Okay. Done. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Arjun Chaudhary, a retail investor. Please go ahead. Arjun, your line is in talk mode. You can go ahead, please.
Hello, am I audible, sir?
Yeah.
Yes, you can go ahead.
Yes. Sir, thanks for the opportunity. Sir, recently one of our competitors announced ENA capacity, and they were allotted several districts in MP for country liquor. So, sir, what is your take on the increasing competition?
See, country liquor increasing competition, as we've already said, that is country liquor, according to us, is a very lowest margin of business for us. So there is not much difference. If you see, our country liquor sale has been stagnant, and in the market also the country liquor market would be stagnant. And so if we have to grow exponentially, and if we have to grow our profit realization also, EBITDA contribution, if we have to increase, so we have to concentrate more on IMFL business, which we've been doing over the years. That's why the contribution to the bottom line has been increasing over the years. So our focus is more on IMFL product. Country liquor, we continue to hold the market share which we used to hold earlier, and realization is as per the earlier years only. And country liquor market is growing at a very reasonable, or in terms of, if you ask me, last year, the country liquor market has in fact decreased by around 8%. And our country liquor sale has decreased by only 2% as compared to the market decrease of 8%.
Okay, sir, but this fresh allocation of several districts in our major state of MP. Yeah. So, sir, would that somewhat increase competition for us? Because we are still doing 30% business in IMIL.
Yeah.
Yes, so that's why I'm asking.
You would have seen this year that it has not impacted us to a major extent.
Okay.
That percentage maybe one quarter is spread out. Q1 was completely gone. But as far as the slight decrease is concerned, certainly the new players they have got the licenses. They were on hold from number of years and having the distilleries in Madhya Pradesh. They have been announced this year by the government as a part of the policy. I think they have been allotted some districts, but looking to the economies of scale and tendering and competition, I think there may be minor impact, certainly cannot be ruled out, but we don't foresee any major impact, looking to our track record and existence.
Okay, sir. Just a follow-up to that, sir, on our district allocation process, how is it allotted? And, sir, what duration is the district allotted?
Is it
an annual?
On a tendering process. And on the tendering process, whoever is the lowest bidder would get that district that is there. And the tender was done last year, and it is being continued for this year also. probably this year, and there'll be a new tender for next year.
Apart from the lowest tender, the past track record and competency of the parties also equal relevant for the government.
And plus, apart from that, what is also done, government has capped a particular individual. So we are almost at our cap. We are functioning at almost at our cap, because what had happened earlier is that new players have come and bidded for entire MP, and they have not been able to supply. So government has suffered huge revenues. So government has capped an individual. So I am almost at my cap.
Okay, sir. Sir, apart from this, are we also at an advantage when it comes to even IMIL brands? So when a new player comes in with their own brand for Country Liquor, so do we also stand at an advantage to them in terms of branding?
Yeah, definitely we because Country Liquor has its tendering process. So apart from that, as a branding and quality, we are definitely an advantage. But apart from that, we have other advantages as for the competitor, because we have got economies of scale. Plus, the major consumption of packaging material is PET bottles. We have got our own PET bottle captive manufacturing. So there also we get a margin, because the other competitors are buying from outside. So we've done a couple of things, because our focus has always been with increase of sales. We have to also concentrate on our bottom line also. So we definitely have a competitive advantage. Plus we are located in center of Madhya Pradesh also. So we are equally in distance to most of the destinations. So our transport cost is also at a reasonable price. So there are a couple of advantages also. And plus our experience and our good track record for last 3 decades also plays a very vital role in this process.
Thank you. We would request the current participant to please come back in the question queue for any follow-up questions. The next question is from the line of Yogesh Bansal from B Square. Please go ahead.
So my question is, when you think your capex, you said you want to increase from 4.5 crores liter to 7.5 liters. So when do you expect that to happen next year? When will you start the production on the 7.5 crore liter?
Sir, it will take around, say, for example, around 12 to 14 months from today.
So that will be what? Like that will be September next year? September, you will see the second quarter, you will be seeing more top line revenue?
Yeah, second quarter next year.
I think we are targeting to complete the entire project as per the roadmap with the suppliers. By May, we are targeting for commercial production. It's little 1 month plus minus. We hope everything will be closed by first quarter of the next year, and we will be able to generate the revenue from the second quarter.
Okay, thanks. But you said with your present capacity of 4.54 crore liter, you are able to generate 5 crore liter. And you are expecting from 7.5 to when your capacity increases to 7.5 next year, you want to generate close to 9 crore liters. Is that right?
Yeah, around 8.5 to 9.
Basically, we are already having the monthly production of 40 plus what we are having with the existing capacity. We are already.
Your voice is not clear. Can you say that one more time?
Yes. Basically, we are already able to generate 40 plus 40 to 43 lakh liters per month on the basis of existing capacity. So we are, I think, almost 5 crore with the existing capacity we are in a position to generate in the as against my installed capacity of 4.5. Looking to that, we have slightly reduced our plant specifications to make it just we should not break my upper line of the license capacity. So we hope we will be able to reach between 8.5 to 9 with the full capacity operation.
Okay. And then afterwards, you're planning to expand it to close to 12 crores. Is that correct, or that's?
So that would be the next phase. So around we will be expanding again around 3 to 4 crores liters on that. But that is first. Let's this phase get over, then the stabilization of the entire plant. So that's again a process of around 3-4 years, and for that we will look into that.
I think it's too early to discuss beyond that.
Understood. And how's your this quarter looking like? Maybe you answered it, maybe I didn't understand that. So how's this quarter looking like? Are you affected the same as last year, like full lockdown and there was no manufacturing happening, or there was a manufacturing happening with some amount of sales?
Certainly, the Q1, we were very confident we were able to again reach to the original figure of my March 20 in this year 21-22 with the expanded territory, and all these are slightly better we were expecting. But unfortunately, the entire COVID situation is repeated. Now again we have to go on the very same level to protect our bottom line, and we may not be actually aggressively expanding the top line. Sometimes it's very bad days, risk of very bad days is very high. Market is very dynamic today. And looking to that situation, we have to again go very conservatively even in this 21-22. So I think the history of my 2021 is going to be repeated. Full time, although we are expecting the good performance and good response from second quarter onwards in the certain other territories. But the main focus would be on the bottom line approach.
Great. Okay. Thanks.
You cannot just move to top line and making some losses actually.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Thanks. I'm done with the question.
Thank you.
The next question is from the line of Umakant Sharma from EM Invesco Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thank you, operator, for the opportunity. Hi, Tushar, and hope everybody in your team is keeping well in this tough time. I had just a couple of quick questions. When you look at the current quarter number in terms of volume, there has been quite a bit of a fall. If you look at, since I believe the lockdowns were imposed somewhere in the end of March or towards April. So could you just throw some color on what happened exactly? And on the other contrasting question which I had was that when I look at the IMFL proprietary brands, the performance over there has been a deflationary trend compared to the inflationary pricing that we saw in the other segments. So could you also throw some color on that, please?
Basically, in the last quarter, if I say, the entire year, last quarter also, there was certain impact of the COVID, and most of the internal areas which are there, so the demand was down. So if I compare the entire IMFL demand in the last quarter in Madhya Pradesh and say other major states of ours in Kerala, in last quarter Madhya Pradesh, the sale was down by around 18%. Okay, the industry was down by 18%, whereas vis-a-vis our sales were down by around only 8%. So we were able to outbeat the industry on that platform. Same in the case of, if you see IML also, the IML sale, the industry was down by around 7 to 8%, whereas vis-a-vis ours were only down by around 2 to 3%. So we were able to mitigate that and we were able to perform better than the industry.
And can you also throw some color on the proprietary brand of IMFL and the the deflationary pricing trend that we have seen compared to the inflationary side on the other brands?
Pricing trend?
Yeah, in the IMFL proprietary. So I believe the realization has fallen from 678 to 670, right? Compared to other brands where we have seen a meaningful increase in the prices.
See, what happens in that IMFL proprietary brand, which you see is a combination of the sale across the state. So what is happening is the sale in Kerala has increased, okay? And Kerala primarily the sale is of the lower end brand. So we have introduced new brands for this year. That's why that slight difference in the price realization.
Okay, got it. And could you also throw some color around the new geographies that you have entered and how have they fared in the current quarter?
In the last year we had planned to enter at least 2 to 3 states, and we were able to enter due to this pandemic. We were only able to enter the Uttar Pradesh market. And Uttar Pradesh market we entered in the third quarter last year, so which is doing fairly well. And we had introduced only a lower end brand earlier, and this year we have also planned to introduce a premium brand also. So we are introducing 2 brands. One is which is the lower end brand, and second is the Central Province Whiskey, which is a premium brand which we entered this year. Because UP is again a big market, and we've seen a favorable response in the fourth quarter there. in our lower end brand because of the quality and other benefits and other strategic calls which we have taken in the UP market. Is basically what we've done is that in the lower end brand also, generally most of the players who are there in that market are using only single label, that is the front label. So our team suggested that why don't we go in for double label, because in that price range if you get double label, the perception of the customer is that it's a premium product. So at the same price we are giving double label, though slightly increasing the cost is there, but that has seen a tremendous response in that market, because see, entering any new market is definitely a very difficult job to enter a new market and get the sales from there, because you have a tough competition there. So you have to do something which is, competition is not doing some things that you have to do to get the sales there. So that gave us a favorable response in the lower end brand. And now this year we've introduced a premium brand. So because of this lockdown, we were not able to send it across. So very soon, as soon as the lockdown opens, the sales will start there. So that was the case last year. And this year also we are studying two markets, Pondicherry and Odisha. So depending on how the market will fare and how the market opens up, we will take a call. Study has already been done of these two markets. Players have been identified. And as soon as the markets open and we see that time is right, because entering in other markets also requires certain huge cost and fixed cost is there. So depending on the market situation and opening of the market, we will venture into those markets.
So in the Pondicherry and Orissa that you were talking about, so all the distributorship and everything have been finalized?
To a certain extent, yes.
Okay. And could you also throw some color on the acceptance of your products of the higher end in your proprietary IMFL brand in Kerala?
Access of funding?
Acceptance of higher end brands which you introduced in the current quarter in Kerala.
So see, what had happened in Kerala is that Kerala earlier we were doing only lower end brands. Okay, and Kerala is primarily in the south market. What is there is that most of the brands are made from molasses-based DNA. And ours was grain-based DNA, so which gave a favorable response in the terms of quality of our product. So that's how we were able to catch up on the sales, and we were able to perform really well. Then apart from that, again, as I said that earlier in my earlier thing also in the case of UP market, to enter any other market, you have to have something unique. So what we launched in Kerala is that Kerala is primarily a brandy market, okay? And there are a lot of female drinkers and other people also who are drinking brandy and so it's primarily a brandy market. So what we did is that we introduced something which is not there across the world. We introduced something called white brandy, okay? And which we were again making it from our most triple distilled ENA. So we gave a white brandy to the customers, and within, say, for example, a launch of 2 to 3 months itself, we have clocked the number of 10,000 cases per month, which is a big achievement for our team. So then again, in the premium segment, what we did is that first we started off with something unique. So we introduced Limon White Brandy, and it did fairly well, and it got a few great acceptance in that market. And people now know us by the name of that these guys are the one who have introduced White Brandy and of a very good quality. So now this year we are launching Limon Golden Brandy also, and Limon one more brandy also on the premium side also. To capture now the big market which is there is the Golden Brandy market on the premium side. So now we will launch that and to capture that market share.
Thank you.
And this year we also tied up with one more player for manufacturing in Kerala as our sales are growing there. So we will be having 2 manufacturing tie-ups in Kerala.
Thank you. We would request the current participant to please come back in the question queue for any follow-up questions. The next question is from the line of Nitish Khattar from ING Asia Fund. Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon. Am I audible?
Yeah.
So can you highlight how you are going to grow your IMFL proprietary portfolio over a period of next 3 to 5 years, considering that you have planned a big capex? How much of the incremental capex will be attributable to the IMFL proprietary products?
Basically, as I said earlier also, that we are planning to expand into newer boundaries. See, Madhya Pradesh, we hold almost around 20 to 25% market share in Madhya Pradesh. So we will grow in Madhya Pradesh as per the growth rate of the industry.
But now beyond, if you want to grow that, we have to expand our boundaries. So that's what we are doing that, but that also step we are taking cautiously. It's basically we are entering into one state, stabilizing it, then moving into other states instead of going across and entering into 10 to 15 states. So as I said earlier, that whichever state we are entering also, we are entering with something unique proposition for the customer. Because otherwise it's very difficult to enter into someone else's territory and eat their market share. So that's what we have realized. So we have to have something unique, like as I said, double label in the cheaper brand in UP, entering with white brandy which no one has entered in Kerala. So these kind of propositions which we have come up with, we are entering into other states. So that is the target of market what we are looking into. And plus apart from that, as you said, that whatever our aim is to convert the maximum ENA into our value-added products and in our own products. So that has been our aim, and that's what we are focusing on. We are also very aggressively focusing on the international market and the international sales where there is a huge demand. So we have seen an increase in demand in that also. Plus in paramilitary and CSD also there is still a huge gap available for a quality brand manufacturer. So we are seeing that also as a huge market. So apart from expanding boundaries in India, we are also looking into other avenues, that is expanding abroad, and even in India, the gaps which are available, like there is a paramilitary, there is a gap, and the CSD, there is a gap. So these are the markets which we are trying to capture. Our aim is definitely to sell as much as value-added products as we can.
Can you give me a number as to how much of your revenue comes from exports and the defense services?
Just to add, I think to clarify your point, we have in the last 5 years from 4 to 5 lakh cases of IMSL, and we have grown to almost 25-30 lakh cases today, and having almost 1/3 of my volume today, and 1/3 of my alcohol is going to my IMSL division now. And when we expanded last time from 31 to 45, so then now we are with the vision to convert my additional ENA to the extent maximum possible to my own value-added product. And setting up ENA is always not a problem, and even today there is not an issue. Even with the same fashion we are going, certainly the way we have grown from last 5 years from 4-5 lakhs to 25-30 lakh cases of IMSL to my of the branded product, I think with the same fashion we can think we'll able to double in the next 4-5 years as far as my own peer brands are concerned. And we will try to convert my maximum ENA capacity into my value-added product to the extent possible. This is the only, but certainly not as the losses. We will be doing entering in the such market where I can make some bottom line, and maybe short term we may lose something strategically, but long term we would like to make some bottom line contribution. We will not be entering any market for the sake of just doing the business and increasing the top line with some heat on the bottom line.
Sure. Could you also help me with the export contribution and the defense sales?
Yes.
For the current year?
Yes. Pardon me? Hello? Overseas export?
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, overseas export.
On overseas export, we did around 15 to 20 containers last year, and which we see an exponential growth, and we see it growing by almost 50% every year on year basis.
Right. And the defense?
Thank you.
Hello.
The next question is from the line of Manish Pariwal from Fiducia Capital Advisors. Please go ahead.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you can go ahead.
Yeah. Congratulations to the management for continuing good performance and the focus on the higher value-added side of the business. As per my understanding, your proprietary brands are focused towards Karnataka and Uttar Pradesh in terms of the new states, other than MP and Kerala. So you have given us a flavor of UP. Can you also give us a flavor of how it is going ahead in Karnataka?
Karnataka, we are, just to be frank with you, Karnataka, we are not doing fairly well because Karnataka is a very brand loyal market. So we are also looking into right now increasing our sale of premium products, because whichever state we first try and enter with a lower end product and try to capture the market. So in Karnataka, what happened is that the Karnataka lower end market is a huge market, that is around approximately around 2 million cases per month. So we thought that if we are able to capture a slight portion of that market also, we will be able to capture a substantial amount of market share, and then with that basis we will ride our premium products. So that has been a strategy across the country in different states. So which has failed in Karnataka, because Karnataka is a very brand loyal market. So it's very difficult to cut that state. So in Karnataka we have changed our strategy and we are trying to introduce super premium products. So as soon as we launch our super premium products of gin and premium super premium whiskey within this year, so that we will push in Karnataka.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Can you also give us the difference in the prices for your popular product and the premium and the super premium? I'm talking only about the IMFL.
So sir, giving you pricing difference as per one thing, because every market is totally different. Okay, every market is different. And see, in India we have to understand liquor is a very big challenge to enter into other states, because every state is a different country altogether. So every state has its got its own policies, taxes, duties which you have to furnish with. So just to give you a broad picture, as per the Madhya Pradesh market, if I tell you, so the cheaper end product is valued at around about 800 rupees a piece, which is our Bombay Special Whiskey. Then comes at around 900 rupees a piece, which is our James McGill Whiskey. Then comes around 1200 rupees a piece, which is our Central Province Whiskey. And we are trying to launch a new whiskey which is in the range of around 1900 to 2000 rupees a piece.
Okay. One accounting question. I was looking at your cash flow statement and the way the working capital has moved. So I noticed that the debtors actually in the cash flow are showing a small increase of 25 lakhs, whereas in the balance sheet they are showing a small drop. Secondly, the inventory, there is a 30 lakh increase in the from the balance sheet, but the cash flow shows an increase of 3.11 crores. So how can that be explained?
Can I just check and get back to you on that?
Yeah, that would be helpful. Thank you. Thank you.
You can just mail to IR relationship or to any number one, so we can get you on that. Anuj and we can do.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Umakant Sharma from EM Invesco Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, this is Jitu. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you can hear me.
Hi, Tushar. This is Jitu Punjabi. So, Tushar, thanks for explaining all the business details over the call. One broad question: when you take your key businesses, which is either the raw material that you sell in wholesale or the franchisee business or your own brand, can you take us through the next 12 or 18 months? Which of these businesses are you more optimistic about and which are you less optimistic about over the next 18 months?
See, if I look into the next 18 months perspective, or if I say next 5 years also and 10 years also, our objective is very clear. We want to increase our own in-house brand and value-added products. So that is our key objective and key focus is on that only, because that will be the key driver for the both top line and the bottom line to a greater extent. So for me, if I say, for example, if in 18 months, if you ask, in another 12 to 14 months, my new capacity will come up. So in 14 months, for me to sell the additional capacity of ENA, that is not a big deal for me as per se, because over the last 3 decades we are known for the quality of the ENA which we sell. Just to add to this, the quality of ENA what we sell is that there has been one more feather in a cap for the company this year, is that this year we have exported
triple distilled ENA to European market. So basically, for their Smirnoff, Diageo, which is number one company in the country, for their Smirnoff, they used to manufacture ENA, triple distilled ENA in European market only. And this year they have taken ENA from us to manufacture and sell Smirnoff in the European market. So that is the quality what we speak. So for us, selling of ENA is not a big issue. So our main focus over the last 3 years, as DVG said, from 5 lakh we reached to 25 lakh cases we closed last year. So our focus has always been and will always be in the coming years to increase the sale of our value-added products.
And so I'll reiterate this differently. I understand the broad objective, but what happened last quarter was certain markets were weak and certain other things did much better than some segment of your business did better than the others. So if I were to use that framework, would you think that the market for some parts of the business will be better than others? That's the broader question I'm trying to get to.
I see if all the other parameters being the same. See, there are last year and this year has been a very abnormal year across the country. Okay, across the country or across the world. So it's been tough time. So we cannot compare this year as compared to the coming years to come. But definitely we are very bullish. One has to be bullish on the Indian economy per se. And we as a company are very bullish on the Indian economy. We see that if the vaccination drive goes on really well, the entire country will come back on in track. And we've seen also that last year also that most of the companies have during this tough time also have given very phenomenal numbers across the industry. I'm not talking about only liquor industry. I'm talking about other industries also. So we are very bullish on the Indian economy. If Indian economy will do well, definitely the alcohol beverage industry will do well because we are still under-consumed country in the world. And people today now, young generation and people are ready to try new products. What was there in the market earlier is that there was a very strong brand loyalty. So for example, if someone is drinking Black Label, he will not touch any other brand. So now if someone is drinking Black Label, he is ready to go downward also if the quality is good and he is ready to go upward also. So that kind of flexibility or change we have seen in the market. So that gives an opportunity for players like us who are quality manufacturers, who are providing good quality at a reasonable price. So that is a big opportunity for us, and seeing this opportunity, we are expanding into other avenues, we are launching new brands, we are getting into innovative products. So that's what we are looking into and targeting in achieving that.
Okay, excellent. And actually one final clarification. So along the way, I heard you answer to one of the questions saying, look, we're not just chasing top line growth, it has to be margin positive and it should be a profitable growth. Now, and you've got a 19% EBITDA margin in this quarter. Now, is it fair to assume that with that focus, these margins sustain?
We will try to sustain this margin, but depends on certain other factors also. But as what we meant to say that we are not only looking at top line growth, we are also looking at bottom line growth also, is that certain calls which we have taken last year and which we have taken this year also, is that in certain areas, in certain pockets which we have not gone aggressive in selling. Because in certain areas where there are private players, I have to sell it to private vendors. If I go aggressive in selling, so there is a huge chances of bad debt coming into books, okay, because of the uncertainty in the market. So which we took a call last year is that we have to conserve our capital rather than going aggressive. Once the market stabilizes, then we can again come back to that approach. But last year was this approach, and this year also we are trying to see that trend because in such markets there are huge chances of bad debts also. By that, what we mean to see not only top line growth, we have to see the bottom line growth also and conserve the bottom line also.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Tushar. Thank you.
Just to add, coming to your basic question, basically we are a core, if you will, manufacturing company and having the proven expertise and having the one of the lowest, having the best operational efficiency. In spite of having my major volume from core ENA and regular range products, I am able to generate my EBITDA better than some of the premium branded players, most of the branded players in the country. This is our core. So, but
Certainly now we are in the process that we are trying to convert ourselves from the core manufacturer to the branded. That transformation we are taking from last 3-4 years. In this transformation, there may be risk also, but with that risk we will be going very cautiously and carefully in the market, like we have entered in the Karnataka, not succeeded in that way, and decided to be conservative. We gone in the Kerala now. We are experimenting the market, but with our fundamentals of that having concentrate on the bottom line. We cannot go use budget. We cannot exceed our credit. We cannot do our budget. There may be growth of 15-20% per annum, but certainly we will try to maintain our bottom line sustained growing. As far as coming to maintainability of your 19% EBITDA, certainly the FY21, in spite of all odds, there was a certain very favorable trend. Like we were having the highest crop and grain production, which resulted into the substantial reduction in the raw material prices. That is one of the major factors. But certainly in this year, we will try to cut down our cost, and maybe some may not be growth in the bottom line. We try to maintain the efficiency. This year we are seeing slightly upward movement in the raw material prices, but we try to offset from my upper and premium products which we are trying to launch in the market. This is the mix. We are tracking the calculation, and I think certainly the 17-18% may not be 19% and above, but almost 17%, maybe 18%, maybe sustained margin in the continuously with us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Keshav from Laxmi Investors. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sir. Sir, so with 3 crore of E&I capacity expansion that we are undertaking, and earlier you mentioned that it would be if I'm guessing it would be fungible with ethanol, or ethanol capacity would be separate from E&I. How would it be?
So it will be a dual-based plant which will manufacture ethanol as well as E&A. Because see, there are opportunities. Sometimes there are opportunities in the market wherein the price of ethanol is higher than the price realization of E&A.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we will try to those opportunities, and it will be a dual-based plant wherein we can manufacture the equal amount of ethanol, whereas the equal amount of E&A. Basically, as we pointed out, the additional capacity is the major capacity creation for our value addition. That is the one part. But at the same time, we try to achieve the maximum operational efficiency within a month or within next few months of the production. For that, taking objective, we have designed the plant in dual and looking to next 2-3 years are very good for even ethanol. We will be getting the input credit on the plant, GST supplies and all these taking calculations, and even the prices of ENA is being offered. And even in central India, I am not having competition from one of the great suppliers. So, and my plants are closely located to the petroleum companies that located near depots of Bhopal and Indore and all these. Looking to that, we have designed the plant. Initially, we may go the initial capacity utilization optimum with the ethanol, and then later on we may switch to our ENA, finding the better, and finally it will be our value-added product. This is the vision. The primary focus is our value-added product, and primarily we are an liquor company, and we will remain achieving our figures on that one.
Okay. So, sir, if I got it wrong, so initially we are going for ethanol, then we'll move to ENA, and then to the value-added products. That's what you mean to say?
No. See, the plant, I can make a plant. In that plant, I will be able to make equal amount of ENA or equal amount of ethanol. So depending on the opportunities in the market, I will take my call. And for additional capacity and additional plant is concerned.
Got it, sir. Sir, and for FY21, what's the state-wise distribution of sales?
FY21, state-wise, FY21 percentage. Which is primarily main sales coming from right now is Madhya Pradesh and the Kerala market.
Okay.
Delhi market,
All
Delhi
right.
market slightly we reduced last year because as I said that there are a lot of private players also whom we should sell, and there was a strong chances of bad debts in the private player market. So that's why we reduced our sale. That's why our sales was slightly got reduced in the Delhi market.
Okay. And if we can put a number to the Uttar Pradesh sales, how much would it be roughly? Any idea, sir?
Uttar Pradesh sales last year we did hardly around 15 to 20,000 cases because we started only in the fourth quarter, and once the sales started coming up, then entire COVID scenario came up. That was hardly only 10 to 15,000 cases. We are able to stabilize our operations in UP.
Okay, sir. All right. That's all from me, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and one now. As there are no further questions, I would now like to hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
I would like to thank all of you for sparing out time and participating in this earnings call. I hope we have been able to answer your questions satisfactorily. If you have any further questions or would like to know more about the company, please reach out to our investor relations manager at Velorum Advisors. And I would like to thank you all and would request you to be safe and healthy.
Thank you. On behalf of Nirmal Bang Equities, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.